Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juggernaut, and these will be my first impressions, and not really just first impressions, but I will more or less try and introduce you to Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. Let's call it that, right? An introduction, I suppose, to this video game. And oh boy. So here's the thing. The TLDR sort of 3-sentence version of what I think about this game is it has massive potential. It has the ingredients here to become as good as, if not maybe even slightly better than games like Crusader Kings 3, the Paradox Grand Strategy games, Victoria, Stellaris, Hoi 4, and so on and so forth. It is finally a grand strategy game that's being developed by someone that is not Paradox and is competing for this market. Unfortunately, that's where the good part ends. It has the potential, it doesn't exactly fulfill it. It is developed by Black Sea Games and published by THQ Nordic. It is currently available on Steam. I think there's a special sale going on for about 10 to 12% off, depending on your region. Currently it is around €40. That's very expensive. Very expensive. That is fairly expensive. It's a full-price game, and in my modest opinion, it's not worth it. It's not worth it that much. So what is the game in its, essence? Well, it's a grand strategy game of... Shush. It's a grand strategy game of medieval Europe where you control any of the playable nations. Any of the nations you see on the map. They're all playable, is what I mean, from the Mongols and the Far East to Kiev and Novgorod and the various Russian tribes here in this area, to Cumania, to the Sultanate of Rum, the Byzantine Empire, the Balkans, France, Germany, England, Spain, Italy, those regions, and everything in between. You get everything, right? It's pretty wide, but it's not that deep. It's a shallow pool that we have here. The map will remind you quite a bit of Crusader Kings 2, I believe, and maybe even Crusader Kings 3, depending on what game you started with. But here's the problem. The game doesn't have all that many mechanics. It taunts you with some strategic depth, but then it doesn't really deliver on it. So here's the basic overview of the gameplay mechanics. There's a little bit more to it. It is a grand strategy game. It's not completely shallow and irrelevant. There are things to manage and stuff like that, but what you can influence is fairly limited. But let's get into it one bit at a time. Okay. So this here is your king. He can do stuff. He can preach Catholicism, he can adopt population, or he can bolster culture. Culture increase of 8% for the cost of whatever you see down there. Upkeep 30. Disastrous. Don't do that. He can also govern... Oh, sorry about that. He can appease the clergy, and he can govern stuff. I'm going to send him to appease the clergy currently, because they are a little bit pissed off at me. So he can do those things. You can then hire different advisors to your court. Marshals, merchants, diplomats, clerics, and spies for various prices of gold. I'm going to hire a cleric in the hopes of appeasing the
ways of God.
Clergy, which did not happen. Never mind, we still do need one in Canterbury, that's fine. And they can govern towns. Governing towns, basically, if they do that, it gives them certain bonuses to the towns, to income mostly. The main problem I have with this game is that it's fairly streamlined, straightforward, and doesn't have much in the way of economic, cultural, or any other depth. Nor does it have much depth in combat, but we'll talk about the combat later because it is an RTS. When you're not laying siege like this, for example, if this French army were to walk up to me, which they probably will, and attack me, we will fight them in an RTS battle. There's just a slight problem with that RTS battle, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, let's talk a little bit about the game mechanics and the economy. You have various different resources. One is commerce. I haven't played around with this too much. You have a base of commerce, a source, and you have an upkeep of commerce for importing and exporting food, goods, and trade with kingdoms. I have 5 trade agreements signed, but I do not trade with a merchant actively, so that's nothing. Doesn't seem very important. Food income, obviously very important for army upkeep and all of that. Kingdom levies, religion, books, yes, literally books, not like literacy or anything abstract like that,
culture.
and royal treasury. Now, what I do like is when you click these things, it gives you a detailed report on what you're spending. The taxes, vassal tributes, the royal lands, provinces, base income, etc., etc., and then your expenses. Currently, religion and culture and military are using 5 a pop. Right, that's your basic resources. This is your stability. This number is basically when you add all of these up. So, the opinion of the nobility, army, merchants, clergy, and peasantry. Here's the thing. The clergy gets pissed off if you declare war on fellow Christian nations. Fighting the enemies of Christ will get their opinion up. Merchants like it when you sign trade agreements. The army likes it probably when you win battles. The nobility, I don't know, and the peasantry is irrelevant, much like in medieval England and pretty much everywhere else in medieval Europe. In all due honesty, this is a little bit too vague. Kind of the opposite of the other side of the UI. Here, if I click the treasury, I get a detailed report of everything. Here, I have no idea why the clergy is pissed off at me. I mean, I know it's because I declared the war, but nobody told me that they would get pissed off if I declare the war. I feel like that could have been useful information and might have factored into my invasion of Brittany. I also don't know how to appease them. I mean, I'm gonna learn. I figured doing this will go a long way into helping the situation, but at the same time, maybe if I could click this button, maybe it would tell me how to deal with the problem. Yeah? Maybe. These are a bit side mechanics, though. This is a little bit of flavor on top, a little bit of extra. The main mechanic is money and resources. So these are your buildings that you build in each and every one of the towns that you own. You also have a variety of settlements around the town. For example, this is the province of York, here's York the town, and there's, for example, a monastery, a sheep farm, flax farm, castle, etc., etc. Now, what do these do? Well, not that much, honestly. For flax farm and sheep farm, you can build special buildings that will get you happiness and extra money out of it. But take a look at that. I mean, this will give me +2 of this commerce supply. Building a market will give me +1 gold and +1 commerce supply. That's +1 on top of the 11 that I have. So I need to spend 800 gold to get +1 gold each tick. Yeah. Not ideal. Sheep farming obviously will give me some food as well, and commerce. Really, if you want to make money, you have to trade, and that's very important. But for the key gameplay elements, you look at the army, right? Because all of this is fine, but the army is what you really need. Someone thought that it'd be a great idea to lock quite literally everything behind buildings and recruitment. Behind recruitment buildings and technology and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a problem with that. So here's the thing. I want to go to Brittany and fight the Britons, and not the Britons, I'm the Britons, but I want to fight in Brittany against the French, right? With my Britons. Confusing, I know, but hear me out. What can I take there in a reasonable fashion? Maybe I can take light infantry, but mostly, at the beginning, you're going to be fighting with just one unit type, the peasants. This makes battles extraordinarily boring, because there's nothing you can do except charge peasants at each other over and over again. There's no formation you can take, there's no ambush, there's no strategy. There's 2 lines of peasants, and they're attacking each other The battlefields are very simple. It's not very fun. Sieges are a little bit more fun because there's walls and there's defense and there's some sort of strategy there, but overall, field battles at this stage are exceptionally boring. And even if I get light infantry, I mean, these are just better versions of the peasants. They cost some gold to hire, at least the peasants don't cost any gold to hire, only food and, well, the manpower from the city, which replenishes shockingly quickly, by the way. And then in that case, I suppose I'll get light infantry and they'll just beat peasants. And then that's it. Really, the height of the combat will be the endgame where I can unlock multiple of these things and get cavalry. So I can use the cavalry to charge down the enemy archers from around and start flanking and start playing a total war battle. But by then I will have gone through a lot of wars and will have played through a lot of the game and quite a few hours will have been lost. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is bad, I'm just saying that the combat system needs a little bit of a rework at the early stages, because this is... yeah. Anywho, once you build the building, though, that's not enough. This is required for training light infantry, but it's not enough. In order to train light infantry from here, you also need some of these things. For example, Fletchers, swordsmanship, spearmakers. Heavy workshop would be nice as well. Stables would be nice as well. As you can see, all of this costs gold, and costs a very, very, very large amount of gold. 3,600, in fact, for Siege Workshop. 360 for spearmakers, that's a little bit more acceptable, but I'm making 61 per tick, and that's with a focus on gold and the economy, and with one of the wealthier nations on the map. You pick a smaller nation, like one of the... whatchamacallit, one of the German electorates, or you pick something that at the time is really having trouble, like Epirus, Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Athens, even the Latin Empire, Carpathia, or actually, no, Cumania is doing fine. Some of the smaller stuff up here, like even Lithuania and Livonian Order and stuff like that, the Finns, you're not going to be building anything for a long, long time. Now, in CK2 you can get away with that because there's interesting things to do. There's court events, there's marriages you can arrange and stuff, and the diplomacy here definitely exists, don't get me wrong. I'll showcase that as well. You go get an audience with someone, and you can offer royal weddings, sport and war, land and gold, or you can demand stuff. And here's the real kicker, you can't negotiate. There's no give or take. I mean, the AI tries to come up with some give or take scenarios, but they're really silly. I'll give you an example. I was playing as Serbia, and I tried to get an alliance with Hungary to help me fight the Bulgarians, or vice versa, so I can basically expand a little bit. And Bulgaria offered me gold in exchange for me attacking Hungary. This is almost what I want, but it's not quite there. What they're doing is they're pushing me into a war against a country that is about, I don't know, maybe 10 times stronger than me, without actually being my ally and helping me. I mean, a few hundred gold isn't going to do anything in a war against them. So yeah. Bit of a problem, I'm afraid. Along with that, you don't get any back and forth that you can do, actually. So if I say, I demand your support in the war between England and Brittany, they're just going to say no, and that's it. There's no option to say, okay, here's the thing, I'm going to offer you a trade agreement, but I want you to support my war, or something along those lines. No. The AI can do that. The AI can go, okay, here's, we'll accept that, but only if you do this. I don't have that option for some reason. Ouch. Yeah, on top of all of this, having any kind of economic prosperity is darn near impossible, or rather focusing on it. The only way you get more economic prosperity and strengthen your nation that way is by conquest. I mean, waiting to accumulate gold to build more gold-producing buildings and trade and stuff is not useless, but it's nowhere near as effective as just taking over the local, neighbors. Yeah. Speaking of the resources, books are used to upgrade your character's skills, money is used for pretty much everything. Religion is not that useful from what I've seen. Don't see many things you can use it for. You can use it to change religion. And there's 4 types of religion. So there's Catholicism, which I have currently, Orthodoxy, Sunni Islam, and Shia Islam. And that's it. And it costs 5,000 gold to convert, and 1,000 piety. Or 1,000 religion points or whatever. Oh, yeah, it is piety, fair enough. Yeah, as you can see, there's a bit of a problem here. Now let's play this out and...
We have received a diplomatic message. Our crown authority is dwindling, my lord. Sire, we have angered our merchants.
I should not have done that. I didn't read that properly. Never mind, I'm going to quit this campaign soon anyway. This is just a showcase campaign. I shouldn't have accepted that. Because I've now pissed off the merchants and I'm at minus 17 because Crown Authority. Oh, but I did want to showcase one more thing. So I'm sieging this place, right, with my army. My army is now low on supply. It has 27 out of 100, whereas the city has 238 out of 600. What is the rate at which these supplies are being drained? Well, I can tell for my army it's 1.2 per tick. No idea about the French, though. Here's another problem. I'm the one sieging them, correct? Yes, good, excellent. How am I supposed to get supplies to my army? Because, see, I'm invading across the English canal here. The English Channel. And it's not a canal, it's a channel, yes. I'm invading across the English Channel, I'm sorry. I speak faster than I think. I have a lot to say, and I really enjoy the concepts that this game toys around with. Like I said, I think there's a heap of potential here, but it just falls short on the execution, and it's really pissing me off. So here's the thing. I want to siege this place, right? I want to get supplies to my army here. From England proper, right? From the islands. How do I do that? Well, I can't. See, I thought initially maybe if I built a harbour or something, I can take ships and then plot a course down here and then drop supplies off and then the army can pick them up and... Or I thought maybe I could recruit a new army and have that army be, smaller but bring supplies over and go back and forth bringing supplies to the besieging army. No, you just can't do it. You can't siege this down currently. The only way I can siege it is go over here somewhere and spend 3,600 gold on, where is it? Barracks and then siege workshop. Because that'll, fortification attrition bonus 20, and that'll actually enable me to create a breach and attack the city.
We will break their defenses!
Yeah. My hope is that maybe if I siege this down to when my army is completely out of supply and then back off, go back to England's supply up and come down here, that they won't regenerate their food all the way to 600, and that I can do sort of 2 sieges like that and win like that. Maybe that wouldn't be a terrible idea, but the French are coming, so I'm about to lose. See, the French have bowmen, which they've recruited from somewhere. I guess they built a thingamajig, and that's fine.
We will break their defenses.
They have some unit variety, but you're gonna see what the combat is like.
My men are
And you're going to see probably my
but will prevail.
sorry, my main gripe with the game. So let's speed this up. They're not going to defeat me. Like I said, I'm doing this just to showcase things. My initial plan when I started the campaign was to attack my smaller neighbours like Wales and Scotland. Unfortunately, the game starts me off as allied to them, so I have no room for expansion other than Brittany. And that's the thing as well, I clicked on Brittany, and as you can see, well, now they have France as their ally, but it wasn't their ally when I declared war. They had nobody in enemies and nobody in allies. And then as soon as I declare war on them, the French join in. I'm going to chalk that up to the French being nasty buggers, but anyways, let's look at this battle. So the French are coming, they're coming to relieve the siege of the city.
The clergy applauds our recent actions.
And let's say I will lead the
Entering
army.
This battle might be a foolish
Yes.
decision, sire.
Okay, so one lengthy loading screen later, here we are. And this is probably one of the most interesting battles you can have early on, because the city's still on the map, and you have the walls and everything, and that's all fine and dandy.
The enemy will attack us
But
on the
what you're
field.
seeing is not my computer giving out on me, and it's not YouTube having problems, it's not my rendering software, no. The battle plays at around 10 frames a second. Yes, 10.
Here we are.
And that's not even
What should we do?
the whole extent of the problem. A much more serious issue is this.
Go there.
I have
Go to that
2,
position.
4, 6, 8 of the exact same unit with which to do battle,
Move your asses.
and 1 general's bodyguard.
Beware of ambush.
And that's it. Now, the French are coming in, they have some archers, which is going to help maybe break up the monotony a little bit, but, well, I guess that's kind of ironic, given that I'm the British and they're the ones with the good archers. But anyways, yeah, here they come. Here comes the enemy general. And that's it. I mean, you could capture these strategic points and win the battle like that, but all the strategic points for them are inside the city, and I'm not getting in there, so I'm just going to sit here and defend myself. But, I mean, I'm going to lose this battle, there's not much I can do about it. Thing is, though, there's not much I can do, period.
Yes.
Even if I were outnumbering the enemy
Here we are.
3 to 1, all I could do is line up my infantry like this,
Go to that
make sure
position.
my general is kinda nearby,
ambush.
so they can... So he provides them with
What should we
buffs
do?
and stuff.
Hit him hard.
And
Brace for
then...
impact.
I mean, I guess I'll engage him, because reasons.
Keep up the pace. Here we are. Run, run, run. Go there. We're
And
on
I
our
guess I'm
way.
going to go around him to engage him from the rear as well. There's also another problem here. I mean, he's not taking any damage as far as I can see, and he's engaged by 3 units of my peasants, soon to be 4 or 5. I've noticed that if I take these 2 out, that's not going to make much of a difference.
Blood and steel.
And that's a big problem.
One runs.
It seems that a lot of the combat is done 1v1.
Face their cavalry.
Not entirely, but this system is a little bit weird.
I'm in
I mean, at least I'm winning over here,
Enemy
but
troops are attacking
this-
our leader.
this should not be a
The
thing.
cowards are fleeing. Bash their heads in.
I mean, all of my men have surrounded the enemy general, and we're barely killing him. Matter of fact, we're almost not. Over here, I'm 1v1ing the other general with my own general, and I'm kind of winning.
Here we are. I'm too important to die.
And now my general's falling back, even though he was winning the battle up until now. I mean, the archers are coming in and stuff like that, fine. There's town guards too, okay, yeah,
Here we are.
whatever. This isn't very good. I mean, it's not exciting,
What should
And-
we do?
there already exists a formula for this, for how to do combat like this. Take a look at something like Cossacks, take a look at something like the Total War games. They make it far more interesting. use terrain, I mean, the fact that there's even mechanics for that already. There's the forest, right? You can put stuff in the forest, hooray. It just doesn't do anything in a pragmatic sense because the battles are over very quickly and they're very simple, where the enemy just charges you in one huge human wave and you just hold them off, or vice versa. That's it. It's unfortunate. I can see so much potential here because the terrain system works. I mean, it's there. You know, if you put archers inside the trees or the forest, it works. I mean, not much of a forest inside these trees here. It works. But again, look at something like Warhammer Total War, how it handles forests. If you put archers on the edge of the forest, they're protected from enemy missiles, but do full damage with their own missiles. Genius. Why not implement something like that here? Why not make that a very relevant, tangible, important factor into the battle? Why not slow down the battles? You know? Maybe move units faster along the road and I don't know. Hide them inside buildings, maybe. I don't know, maybe that's a bit much, but something, you know, something. High ground, maybe, advantages, cliffs and stuff like that, kind of like in the I forgot, the Total War game with mythology in Greece. Troy Total War, right, yeah. In Troy Total War, where you have those cliffs, you can put archers and all sorts of units around, and terrain plays an important part there as well. Why not something like that? This is just mediocre, and
We are under attack.
look at it.
We must protect our
We still
leader
haven't
from
killed
the
this general,
enemies.
and he's still not running away.
What's up? They're flanking us.
I mean, I'm not even going to put in much of an effort to defend myself here, as
Our
there's
men are
very
running
little I can
away.
do,
The
but
morale of our army is
yeah, there you go. At the end of the battle, my army retreated
We're all
without
going to die.
killing the
Our
enemy
troops
general, even in
deserted
a
the
situation like
battlefield
that.
as their leader fell dead.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting to win this battle. Okay, like I was saying, don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting to win that battle. I screwed up, I didn't know France would join in, though I feel like the game should have told me. I mean, they weren't allied with Brittany, and they just called them in as allies anyway, which is a bit weird. But anyways, besides the point, I wasn't expecting to win the battle, that's not the point. The fact that I lost in such a boring manner, or the fact that all of the battles are fought in such a boring manner is, you know, is what the problem is. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have much else to say. In terms of preferences, you know, you have text and audio. Audio languages available in Chinese, German, and French. And text languages available in all these languages. Controls, graphics, gameplay. There you go. That's it. Fairly standard for an RTS menu. I have no complaints on that end. But I have complaints here. I don't like this. And even in a game like Crusader Kings 2 and Crusader Kings 3, you don't have exactly a way to become a superpower while holding only one city. If you focus on the economy somehow, or trade, or whatever, that's not really a thing. I mean, CK3 building high is kind of expected, and a little bit you get off. You get away with a little bit more than in CK2, but in CK2 there's different things you can do to mitigate these things. You can, for example, become a vassal of a neighboring superpower. I can't become a vassal of France here. You can arrange marriages. You can, you know, there's a whole political depth there where you can do stuff to improve your position. And there is an espionage system here as well, but it's not very good.
My tongue will enthrall.
I mean, here, I can put this guy in, where was it? Warwick? Sure,
this
let's
will
put
be
him
a
in
secure
Warwick.
and safe place.
And what can he do? He can infiltrate a kingdom to spy on them. Fine, let's pick one. It will have to be France, right? 'Cause that's what we're going to be fighting with most of the time. Okay, France, and then he's going to infiltrate them, and after a certain period of time, you do get certain actions that you can do against France. That's fine, but... It's not enough. It's just... It's a great idea to incorporate all these different opportunities...
I will exchange knowledge with these fine...
to interact with the world and to set them in an open stage like this. You can do this, you can do that, you can, you know, try all sorts of different things, but at the end of the day, it's a bit boring and there's not a lot to it, I'm afraid. Which is highly unfortunate for a game like this. It plays and feels a lot like a beta or an early access game rather than a full release, but for the price of €40, this is not going to be able to compete against something like Crusader Kings or any of the Paradox Grand Strategy games. It's just not going to be able to do much, I'm afraid. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions about the game or you want to talk about anything tangentially related to this, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I will read everything and try and improve my content with each passing day and with each comment. But I was a bit maybe overcritical of the game, but it's only because I care about it. I see so much potential in it to be so much more. Especially because I absolutely adore the blend of RTS Grand Strategy, of Grand Strategy and RTS battles, right? Something like Total War, something like, this isn't even the first game to attempt something like that, to attempt to become like competition to Paradox Grand Strategy games and borrow a little bit from Total War. There's been a few other attempts like that, and some of them better than others, and this, I mean, there's so much already here to work with. It just needs a little bit more love and a little bit more well thought out mechanics in terms of the economy, in terms of the troop recruitment and the variety of troops and all of those things in the battlefields to really reach that high level of or that high level that we all yearn for, I suppose, in a game like this. It's all a bit too simple. Diplomacy's a bit too simple. Combat's a bit too simple. It's a shame. It's a shame. I think it's a really great idea, and I hope a lot of companies, if this game doesn't live up to its potential, which, you know, it's a full release right now, and I don't exactly see it turning all its mechanics on its head completely and then, you know, reinventing the wheel, but if nothing else, I at least hope to see games take inspiration from this and turn it into something deeper, more complex, and better. I don't even mind that there's very little cultural differences between playing as England, Serbia, Bulgaria, Egypt, the Seljuks, the Mongols, etc., etc. They all pretty much play very similarly. I don't even mind that. That's fine. It doesn't have to be the most historically accurate game ever. In fact, if we go to the main menu when we start a new campaign, you can see that there's even options to turn historical things off altogether. I mean, okay, okay, the performance is tragic even in the menus. Sorry for that sudden jump cut. I was saying that even if we start a new game here, we can see that you even have the option to just throw historical settings out the window, right? Starting King's Class Historical or whatever down here, that's fine, I suppose. Kingdom size, you can put all kingdoms to 2 provinces. And then, let's say, yeah, normal difficulty, kingdom size, 2 provinces, and this historical. And how exactly would that work? Resized to a select number of provinces on the start of the game. Okay. So let's say I pick Byzantium. Yeah, it does work. There you go. This is what they called Shattered Realm at the, Huh. Though it doesn't seem to work for everyone, just for me, which is a little bit interesting. Yeah, see, Naples inherited most of what I own. But it does randomize it like that. You see, you basically dissolve the Byzantine Empire into 2 or 3 provinces. You can start with a more challenging beginning if you want. I think that's a great setting. I mean, really, that's superb. Awesome, you know, great idea. And if you could play around more with the map, maybe a map painter, so you can set up like custom empires at the beginning, like give all of the Isles and maybe Scandinavia to England, and give the Iberic Peninsula and France to one power or one empire, and unify the two and then have them fight or whatever. Divide Europe into maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different powers, and instead of these smaller states like this, and or maybe the opposite, just have everything be a 1-province minor and see who emerges on top. Grand idea, like I said, grand idea. I'm all for it. This seems very fun, but it's just it not enough to overcome the problems that exist in the game, and then the issues I have with it. And as you can see, it's virtually identical. Like, doesn't matter. This is Byzantium. It's pretty much still everything is the same, which again is fine, but the base isn't there, you know. Unfortunate as it is. Alright, that's it for now. I think I signed off this video like 10 times, but I keep wanting to get more out of this game, and it just isn't there. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and want to stay tuned with the rest of the content I produce on this channel. It does help out a ton, and I will see you all in the next video, hopefully. Until then, have fun, take care, bye-bye.